Being an extremely involved student at my university, one of the questions I'm really asked a lot is, why did I choose to come to AU? And it's definitely not a cookie cutter answer, and it's not something I can just give you in a sentence, so I decided to put it in a video. Okay, out of breath. All right, golly, man, it's been a minute. A little rough, but that is okay. So, yeah, man, let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I know it's been a minute, but this is a video that has been requested for a very long time, and I haven't really found the time to do it. And I think when you have a lot of free time, or you just constantly ask yourself when is the right time, I think that's kind of a sign that you should just do it, because that is the right time. So here it is. But before I continue, if you're new to the channel, my name is Justin Goddard. I'm a college YouTuber where I create most of my content about lifestyle, vlogs, challenges, things like that. But for the most part, most of my channel is based around college, so you can see things like tips or advice, or you can see me goofing off on campus, or you can even see me just showing my everyday lifestyle. I gotta be all proper. So, being an extremely involved student at my university, one of the questions I'm really asked a lot is, why did I choose to come to AU? And it's definitely not a cookie cutter answer, and it's not something I can just give you in a sentence, so I decided to put it in a video, and so that's what we're going to talk about for today's video. So if you haven't already, you guys know the deal by now. It's been years. Come on now, you know the deal. You gotta like, comment. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. But if not, subscribe when you feel like I've made it worth a while. So I know what you're probably thinking. I've done videos for the university where I've kind of talked about why I chose AU, and you can kind of see that here. Greetings from Augusta University. My name is Justin Goddard, and I graduated from Union Grove High School in Henry County. I'm a junior here at AU. However, not saying that that is not the authentic answer, but it's definitely a lot more deeper than that, and I want to be able to tell you guys that, because I don't know, maybe you're someone that wants to come to AU and you personally would want to hear somebody's answer that's not in uniform, and that's what I'm here for. So being a senior in high school, going to Augusta University was actually my #1 choice. For the most part, I was narrowed down to a few choices and a few schools. For me, that was obviously Augusta University, but along with that, I had West Georgia on my list, I had a Christian school on my list, and then because I was also an athlete looking to get on a scholarship, I also had a few offers that I was given. One of them being the University of South Carolina's upstate campus, I believe it was. But when it came down to it, it was a few things that I'm going to detail for you guys that really made the choice for me a lot easier. And let's get into it. So the first reason why I really chose coming to this school is because I was and still am the type of person that I needed to go away from home. I needed to go out and move away from my hometown, or at least farther away from my hometown. I live in the Atlanta area, so for me, closer schools like a Georgia State, Morehouse were great options. They just weren't necessarily great options for me. Honestly, I did not want to live at home, because I knew if I lived at home, to each his own, right? But if I lived at home, because my parents are very supportive, I just think personally that being able to move away from your hometown is a top 3 life hack in life. There's so many opportunities, there's so many different people, and just so much that you don't get to experience that I think you're kind of depriving yourself of an entire different outlook of life by staying in your hometown, if I'm being honest. While there's nothing that you can lose from staying at home, you definitely can not gain something, if that makes sense. I wanted to move away from, you know, the city I was in, and there's nothing wrong with my city. I lived there long enough to where I wanted to be away from it. I wanted to challenge myself as an 18-year-old guy to be able to live on my own and not have, you know, my parents over me anymore. While they still are in my life, but you know, I'm not sure how you may personally feel about it, but I would say if you have the opportunity to do so, please move away from your hometown just for college. But me personally, I think it's such a good thing for you to be able to move away and just go away for 4 years and, you know, experience a different city you've probably never been to before, with a bunch of new people, a bunch of new things to do and things like that. So that was definitely a big thing for me personally. So moving on to the second reason why I chose Augusta University is because I wanted to be an athlete. And I'm not sure how many people actually know this, but I actually was and got to be an athlete here for the past 3 years or the first 3 years actually, of college. And so My story really began freshman year, coming out of high school. I didn't really have the times. I wasn't too far off, but I definitely was not at what they were asking for. And so I was contacting our, at the time, head coach, and contacting him throughout my last semester or my last few months of my senior year, just asking, you know, hey, these are my times, this is the school I go to, this, that, and the third. Is there any way maybe you could, you know, check me out, this, that, and the third? And he was very, very open to the idea of me joining the team, but what I didn't realize until I actually came and had a meeting with him, that he meant as a walk-on. And so while that was not a problem for me, I just wasn't really on the same page. So I mean, I did a summer program, which is the Jumpstart program, where I graduated high school and moved here to Augusta University about 2-3 weeks later. And so I kind of been here ever since, but because of that, when I was here during that summer, I got an opportunity to talk to the head coach, and I pretty much got on a team as a walk-on. And so that's kind of how I ended up fulfilling my dream in a sense by being a walk-on here. I'm no longer on the team. That was a decision I came to at the end of my junior year, where I just felt like honestly doing content and the lifestyle that I want with that as a photographer, as a content creator, and just so many other things kind of started to outweigh the value of being a student athlete. I kind of want to be a content creator more, so that was just ultimately where my decision was at. But yeah, track and field was one of the reasons. So one thing I do want to go ahead and say is that one of the things you're not going to hear me say on my list is anything really academic. In all honesty, I kind of knew around the field that I wanted to be in. I knew I wanted to be around technology and some type of, you know, devices and things like that. Obviously at the time I didn't know it was digital marketing, but coming for a business degree or even a digital marketing degree wasn't really in my head at the time when I was looking for. I can't really answer that from that perspective. I personally love my degree, and if that's something you want me to talk about more, I can definitely do that in another video. But for the most part, I just didn't really have that much of a necessity when it came to my degree. I knew I was going to be in business at some point, and I know that this is a medical school, so my business degree wasn't really going to be favored, but I knew it would be strong enough for me to want to come here. So yeah, that's pretty much about it as far as my degree. I mean, that's pretty much that. So one of the third reasons, and one of my personal favorite reasons why I came to Augusta University, is because of the vibe. And this is something that everybody's gonna have their own opinion on, and that is completely okay. But for me personally, I just remember when I toured, and I sound so old saying this, but like I toured Augusta back in 2018. The event that I went was not even really a tour of the campus. It was really just about getting to experience the college before you actually attended. And so for me, when I came, I did a tour, we'll say, for the video. We'll say, so for right now, we'll just call it a tour. But when I came for my event, we had a bunch of time where they basically separated us from our parents and separated us with our desired majors at the time. And I remember being in like the IT side because I didn't really know what I wanted to do yet. And we were like playing with robots and doing like really cool things. So that already was like really good off the bat. Then, of course, when we toured the dorms and we got to tour the campuses, like it really, really was pleasing to me. I definitely love Somerville because it's beautiful, especially at sunset. And when we got to tour the dorms, we were touring Oak Hall, which is the freshman dorms, if you don't know. And there's a student there that actually let us go through her room while she was in there, and she let like my family and like 7 others go through and literally do a tour of her room as she was like sitting on her bed. It was really weird, but it was really cool at the same time that she was just open enough to do that. And I just remember the vibe was just really, really nice, man. I mean, it was just a friendly atmosphere for sure. It just felt happy, it felt live. It felt like there was things going on campus. It felt like there's a body of people that actually are like embracing what I'm still kind of currently chasing, but this like college feel where it's like I'm actively doing the college things. I'm going to the games. I'm, you know, supporting all my friends in their clubs and organizations, so I'm going to those. I'm, you know, participating in all these events. I'm going to the homecoming events and just all these things like that. That's really the kind of energy that I got when I was in high school. So now you can kind of see how that energy is kind of transcended to me. So let that go to show you, like, it's a nice little vibe. I ain't gonna lie, it's a nice little vibe. And honestly too, like, I'm gonna really try not to name drop schools like that for real, because I still also hold like roles on campus that I just don't wanna, but I'll still talk about it though. Like, I toured in the same weekend, Augusta, West Georgia, and I believe Georgia College and State. I'm not gonna lie, that was a school that I think my mom just wanted me to tour. I never was thinking about going to Millersville. No hate whatsoever. It just was not in the cards for me at all. So it really came down to Augusta and West Georgia. And when I toured West Georgia, I actually toured them first on the weekend. We went to the dorms. They didn't even let us in the dorms. So I never actually got to see what West Georgia's dorms look like, because they stopped us in front of the building and said, well, this is as far as we can go. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's co-ed. These are the dorms as far as the layout on like a piece of paper, and that was literally it. Whereas AU, I actually got to be inside of the dorm. I got to record and take pictures and actually see and get a feel of what my life may look like. So that already kind of separated the gap between the two schools for me too. But like I said, once I actually got to AU's campus, that was when I was like, yeah, I already had it as my first choice, but now it's not even close. The fourth thing on the list is very, very important, regardless of whatever college you decide to go to, regardless of whatever school you decide to go to. But the city of Augusta was just as important to me as Augusta University. And what I mean by that is, when you're researching schools and you're trying to decide what school you should go to, you have to look at the city you're gonna live in too, just as much as the school. Because let's say, for an example, you really love Georgia State. That's great. But if you plan on living on the dorms or living somewhere close enough for you to commute, you have to understand that that also means you're gonna live in Atlanta. So not saying that that's a bad or a good thing, but just knowing you have to be able to find things that you can do in the city too, because a lot of people blindly will just choose a school and then they forget, oh wait, I don't know what to do here. And they never looked up things to do, places to go, yeah, this, that, and the third, and now they hate it here. So I went through and I researched things to do in Augusta. So I found bowling alleys, I found the movie theaters, I found, the nature trails, and definitely was a big plus knowing the things to do in the city, because that helps whenever I'm just sitting in my room. Yeah, the school side may be done, but like I said, you also have to consider you still live in the city too. So you got to find some things to do while you're here for 4 years. Also too, one of the bigger things that, it's kind of common sense, but you also got to look at how far these schools are from your house. And so for me, I basically travel about 2.5 hours from Augusta back home, and vice versa. So for me, that's a feasible drive. I don't have a problem driving 2.5 hours back and forth. Now, you on the other hand may not. So just make sure you're also considering the distance between how far it would be from your home, and if you have to travel, via a plane or you get to drive. Just things like that are also important too. This is really just what you care about, and it's just how you go about it for real. Now this might be a little bit of a wishy-washy topic, but for me, or really my parents is what I should say, the cost of going to AU was significantly smaller than every school I pretty much toured or had as an option. This is one thing I do have to say. A lot of times when I'm doing tours, people will ask me like how much I pay in tuition, or like how much financial aid am I awarded. These are personal questions I can't answer. So I'm once again not gonna answer that on camera, but I know for a fact, just a flat rate alone, AU was a lot cheaper than, for me, West Georgia was a lot cheaper than Kennesaw, was definitely a lot cheaper than University of South Carolina upstate, of course being out of state, meaning I'm paying out of state tuition. And of course the Christian schools, because with it being a Christian school, that's religion means private means more money. AU was already a cheaper option, so for my parents that was a green light. Now you can kind of start to see, all these W's that are coming up, so it kind of made an easy choice for me. AU really stuck out to me because it was the most friendly environment out of all the schools that I toured, which was 4. It was the cheapest option that I had. It was the one school that I actually got to visit the dorms. Even though I didn't want to be a part of it, I got to see Greek life on my tour. I got to see athletic departments. I got to see actual parts of the campus when I toured, whereas West Georgia, I barely saw anything. Georgia College, it looked pretty dry. Campus wise and everything, it looks dry. Guys, I can't. I really wasn't gonna do it. I couldn't. There wasn't any other school that actually made me feel like I could be there for 4 years. And so being honest with myself, that was really what made the decision really easy for me, because it's like going for academics is important. I'm never gonna disqualify that, but I'm very much an advocate for all aspects of life. And while sure, you may want to come here for med school, but like if you just hate the city too, like that's a tough spot to be in. I would really say just to make sure that you're making the choice that you want to make and that you're not going to the school that your parents want you to go to, because that's another big thing. And no, I definitely understand it, because I know some people are forced to be doctors and, you know, things like that. And I respect it. You know, it's not my place to talk about that. But if you do have to say in what school you go to, use it, because I've had a plethora of friends that have had to transfer out because they either came to a school that they didn't want to go to, they came to a school's city that they didn't want to live in, or just whatever the reason was. So if that's something that you can just go ahead and do your research on beforehand, go ahead and do it. Really go ahead and do it. It saves you time, a lot of time, and time is everything. So love yourself enough to do that. That honestly is pretty much it, guys. So I mean, like I said, this is gonna be a short video. I wasn't gonna go into too much detail, but I definitely wanted to make sure I gave somebody this video for advice, or just any type of way that you can, you know, use this to kind of see how you would go about your college decision, or specifically AU. So if this video helps you, I would love it so much if you gave this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, I actually don't know why you haven't subscribed yet. This is maybe the 50th video I've made either about college or AU. So if that's something you're clearly interested in because you keep coming back, I don't know why you haven't subscribed yet. I'm gonna leave that to you, let you handle that. But you already know the button is, just go right below, click on it, and it's for free. You know how many other apps you gotta pay for subscriptions for? Mine is free. Free gems, free game, you're getting for free. And you can't reward a brother with a I'll try to be a little bit more consistent. It's a tough time period right now. We came off spring break. I came off the Masters, and a bunch of crazy things happened then. And I'm trying, I really am trying. So I just hope that you bear with me. I might have to just batch a bunch of videos and just have them drop for you guys whenever I can. So I'm definitely talking too much, so bye.